In this lesson, we're going to start working on stay. The way I teach stay is I never actually say stay. The marker word yes is basically like saying stay. So if I tell them to go to their place or sit down or lay down, stay is just implied. And then, like I'm talking a lot during the video, but I'm not giving her eye contact. So that way, like if you do look back at them and say something, it kind of means they're really supposed to do something. Josie, place. Yes, good girl. Sit. Nope. Yes, good girl. Good girl. So at first, like I said, I think I dropped a piece. Start with a watch me exercise. It kind of lets her know we're working. It also helps to get her focused on us. Yes, good girl. Dogs don't naturally want to give you eye contact. If two dogs are staring at each other, it basically means they're going to fight. So we're teaching her that it's okay to give us eye contact. That's what we want. Yes, that's what we want. And, we're not going to fight. Yes, good girl. At home with her, I would suggest taking her in a nice, quiet room. She seems like she's somewhat easily distracted, but by going through the training and everything, she's going to have a lot better focus. And now she's actually not even really looking at me so much. So instead of moving my hands away, I'm just going to wait for eye contact. Yes. That way, instead of, like, since it's a more distracting environment, make it a little bit easier for her. At home, she should be fine with moving your hands away. So like I said, she's pretty distracted. I want her to figure out on her own what I want, and that paying attention to me is a really good thing without even having to, without having to tell her that. Like, let her figure it out on her own. So to teach stay, at first just take a couple steps back. Like I said, I never actually say it. Come back and reward her for staying. Good girl. Good job, honey. Good job. Break. Place. Yes. Sit. Yes. Good girl. Like I said, at first, move away real slow and move back real slow. She seems like she's got a pretty good stay. So I'm actually going to start moving around a lot more, making it more challenging for her. Good dog. Anytime they lay down, they're relaxing more. So I verbally praise her for laying down because she's relaxing more. She's much more likely to stay. Like I said, at home, train with her in the least distracting environment you have. Good girl. Good girl. Once you have the behavior you want there, then, go to a slightly more distracting environment. Break. So like at first I would train with her in a quiet room where there's nothing going on. Then I'd take her maybe to your living room where, somebody might be walking through every now and then, or somebody's watching TV. Then take her like to your backyard, depending on how distracting your backyard is. But just you want to really solidify all the activity with no distractions and then slowly add in distractions. You can't expect her to, she knows everything in the house where there's no distractions whatsoever. And then take her to a park where there's all kinds of stuff going on and expect the same behavior. You're going to have to work up to that. It's actually called proofing. So like I said, you work in, an environment with almost no distractions and slowly start adding them in. Good girl. And since I want them to know the bed's a really good place to be, and she's already pretty much knows that, I'm coming over and rewarding her just for staying on, just for being on the bed and staying while I was talking and everything. And since it seems like she's staying pretty good, like I said, I'm actually going to start moving around a lot faster, move kind of erratically, almost like little kid would or something. It's almost like trying to get her to chase me, but I'm not giving her eye contact, and I'm not really trying to get her to chase me. But it's just teaching her to stay, until she's released. So I think I already said this, but anytime you're working on stay, come back and reward them for staying first. Good dog. Good dog. Break. And like I said, always vary the amount of treats you're using. Place. Yes. Good dog. Good dog. Most people talk to dogs way too much. Like, only use the command one time. Make sure you use your marker words. But like I said, I'm talking a lot for making the videos, but I'm not giving her eye contact. When I want her to do something, I'm giving her eye contact and saying something to her. And that's also teaching her that, like, she probably already knows this, but like, she doesn't have to pay attention to everything we're saying. Also, I just kind of want to demonstrate, like, break, sit, Josie, sit, sit. So she actually did most of the time. And I said, sit first. So let me try one more time. Break, Josie, Josie, sit, sit, Josie, Josie, sit. So it's like she's not really paying much attention. Sit, and she sits right down. It's sort of the way you say it, but it's also if you just, one command and kind of make it more like a, more so of a command, not, aggressive or mean or harsh or anything, just a little bit louder and a little bit sharper than most other words. And like I said, only say it one time. They're much more likely to listen. Break. Place. Yes. Good girl. Good dog. Down. Yes. Good girl, Josie. Good dog. Good dog. And when I'm praising them, I will talk to them a fair amount when I'm praising them. You don't really like want to, at this point, whenever you're training, you want her to be calm. So you don't want to like baby talk and, pet her and get her all worked up. You just want to tell her more like, good dog, and talk to her kind of calmly. And like I said, she seems like she's ready to go on to the next lesson. She's staying really good. Like I said, she's doing really good. Good dog, Josie. Good girl. Good job. Break. And she's more comfortable and paying a lot more attention to me now too, but there's not really much going on. Like I said, work with her where there's no distractions, get the behavior you want there, and slowly start adding distractions in. Place. Sit. Yes. Good dog. Down. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Break. And I actually dropped the hot dog. Good dog. Place. Sit. Good girl. And I'm not sure if I said this in the last lesson or not, but I'll actually use a lot of hand signals. The way you teach them anything is luring them in like a puppy. They have no idea what the word means or a hand signal or anything means. So the first thing you do is you're luring them into the behavior you want. So say there was a puppy standing here on the ground. You put the treat pretty much right in his face and move your hand up over his head. So by doing that, you already kind of have a hand signal. The luring action is, turns into a hand signal. Once you have the behavior you want by luring, then the hand signal, or even just by luring, then attach a word to it. When you start attaching the word to it, you don't want to pair the word and the physical movement. So for instance, if I was going to teach a puppy to sit, first I would just lure them into sit, and once they got that, I would say sit, and then I would give them the hand signal. That way they're actually getting both of them. If you say sit, they're really only getting the hand signal. They're really not even understanding the verbal one. They will probably learn it eventually, but by separating everything like this and using your marker words, your training will go much better and faster. Break. Good dog. And like I said, at this point, I'm not giving her treats off the bed. I'm only giving her treats on the bed. Place. Eventually, she'll get treats for breaking off the bed too. But at first, I want her to know it'll help a whole lot with teaching her stay. And I want her to know, like, the bed's a really good place to be. So since she really seems like she's got this pretty good, I'm going to work on down just a little bit more. And then I think I'm going to start demonstrating a controlled walk. It's going to be kind of hard to do in here, but I can probably actually just take the camera right over there and do it. Break. Good. Place. Yes. Break. Good dog. Place. Yes. Sit. Yes. So she's going right into down. I wanted to work on down with her, but she's going right into it anyway. So I don't really want to have her down off the bed because at this point, I don't really want to give her treats off the bed. So I'm actually going to take the camera out here and I'm going to start teaching the next lesson. Like I said, she's got this. Good girl, Josie. Good job. Controlled walk is something that a lot of people struggle with. The key to it is to never follow a dog that's pulling you. That's the number one thing. Number two is like if you're going to try and take her for a walk in the neighborhood, don't walk from point A to point B. Walk her for a certain amount of time and make your walk with her be like a controlled walk exercise. So the way to start at first is basically just give them the whole leash, let them get distracted. Yes, good job, girl. And I shouldn't use yes, I should actually use good or break because she's coming back to me. But as soon as she turns around and pays attention to you, tell her good dog and get her to come back and get a treat. It's going to teach her leash pressure. It's going to teach her how to shut off leash pressure. And it's going to teach her when the leash gets tight and she's getting leash pressure, she needs to pay attention to you. So she's actually doing really good. The leash is loose. Like I said, that's the way you would start. Like she's pulling, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just not saying anything. I'm waiting for her to choose to pay attention to me. Good dog, good dog. As soon as she does, I'm saying good dog and I'm giving her treats. So that's the way you would start. The next lesson, or the next exercise I'm going to do with her is called red light, green light. And I'm going through this kind of fast. I'll actually go over the whole thing again. But since she got all that, that's the only reason I moved on. The next exercise is red light, green light. I'm going to teach her to auto sit. So I'm never actually going to tell her to sit. The first thing I'm going to do, and I hope you can see this in the video, is give her leash pressure. And it's not much leash pressure. It's, enough to have the leash straight and a little bit of pressure, but it's by no means, choking her or pulling up on her or anything. So if she doesn't get the leash pressure, then I'm going to use a hand signal. Oops. And good dog. Yes. Lure her into the sitting position, then break, one step, stop. Leash pressure. If she doesn't get the leash pressure after a second or so, hand signal. Yes. As soon as her butt touches the ground, say yes, and all the pressure goes away. Break. And at this point, I'm using break as her release word for this. She almost sat. Yes, good girl. Once she gets it really good, I'm going to start using heel as her release word for this. And, teaching her what heel means. Break. So it's one step and stop. Leash pressure. Yes, good girl. So that time she got it with just leash pressure. Good girl, Josie. Good job. So I'm kind of jackpotting her a little bit, petting her. Good dog. Yeah, good girl. Break. So once she's got one step and stopping, start going to multiple steps. Also doing 180s like this helps a lot. Another thing is yes, good dog. I hold all the leash in one hand. So I'll put the leash through my hand, wrap it around my pointer finger, bring the loose end back up into my hand. And then when you're walking with her, give her enough leash so her back legs can come up. Nope. Yes. even with your leg, or she can go a little bit behind you. You can't expect a dog to heel where their shoulders are at your leg for a half an hour or an hour. I just expect her to be polite on the leash. Break. Yes. Oh, also, when you're doing the 180 exercises, like you want to walk break, basically like you're not walking a dog. I'm not looking back and checking on her. I'm not like you want to look like you know what you're doing and you know where you're going. If you're constantly looking back with her, looking back at her and seeing what she's doing, like I can feel her on the leash. So I know if you know, and she's actually doing really good. I barely even feel her on the leash. When I turn around, she comes right with me. If you're constantly looking back at them and checking in with them, they don't really think you know what you're doing. And like all dogs are looking for a leader. So if you're constantly looking back at her and checking in with her, you don't look like a leader. You look like you're looking to her for what does she think we should do. And that's gonna make, like it's gonna make it much harder. Yes, good dog. Good dog. And she's catching on really fast. She seems like she's really smart. Good dog, Josie. Good dog. Break. So, like I said, yes, good dog. All dog training is repetitions, stay calm. If you start getting frustrated, just stop. Come back to it later. If she's not paying that much attention, try and do something else to get her more focused and engaged with you. If that doesn't work, same thing. Just take a break and come back to it later. It's actually better to skip a day of training completely than have a bad day of training. So, like I said, if there's any time that it's not going good and you're getting frustrated, just, you can even skip the whole day. Break. She's getting to the point where just our stopping is going to be, yes, her cue to sit. So I didn't use any leash pressure or anything. That's what you're shooting for, is just you stopping's her cue to sit. So since she got that, I should have jackpotted her immediately. But since I said yes, I can just the treats are coming, keep giving her treats. Good dog, Josie. Good girl. Break. And now there's somebody coming in with a dog, so she's kind of distracted, but yes, good girl, good girl. And like I said, nope. Doing these exercises and teaching them leash pressure is going to make them much better on the leash. It teaches them how to shut the leash pressure off. It teaches them what to do when the leash gets tight. And she's actually got great focus. She's sitting here staring at me. Break. Yes, good girl. Break. Yes, good job, Josie. Good dog. Good girl. Good girl.